Okay, now that the transmission rod has uh, been installed, the next step is the electrical connections. Step 1 just seems like the transformer connections. Step 2 is just the harnessing, and step 3 is just the actual power cord connection to the transformer. And I think the step number 8 has to do with connecting the front panel control. Actually, firstly sliding the transformer into that nook, into that holder, so it's not falling off, and then the front panel, and then eventually, yeah, this is just securing the front panel uh, to the front of the desktop. And looks like it's the part that's closer to the motor, which would be suitable for a right-handed person. And then these are just the cable ties, which I don't think I'll use because they tend to be this self-sticky thing, which I'm not a huge fan of using sticky things. That's it, and then it's just a matter of plugging it in and trying it out. And the rest is just how to use it and the technical specs. Looks like it's got some memory settings for different memory settings. So okay, so we'll get started with the power connections. Looks like it's pretty obvious, the power connections. So we'll get started. So that's the desk. These are all the different connections of the transformer and things like that. Okay, so let's take a look. That's the front panel. This looks sort of like an Ethernet cable coming from the front panel. This is, let's see, this probably connects the front panel to the transformer. This is the actual transformer that accepts the AC, and it looks like it's got an LED light also, so that'll tell us if it's got power. That's just the connector. So I think, I'm not sure where these get secured, but it looks like the front panel obviously has to be mounted using the screws. I see 2 sets of screws over here, and so let's start with the first step. That's the AC power cord. Let's remove the plastic covering on from the front panel. Okay, and then we will connect the there's obviously this cord here that's coming to the motor, It's got this type of connector. So the first step is we get this cord ready. This cord has to be connected to the transformer, so this converts AC to DC, and the output is 29 volts. It draws 1.8 amperes, 52 watts. So we connect the AC power to the AC power connection, like it's like this. Push in the cable, and then this has got some kind of clip type of connector. These two are probably connected together, and this is the connectors are actually not the same size because it's DC, so it has a polarity, positive and negative. So correspondingly, this has got one flat connector and one rounded smaller connector. So we plug this in to this. There, that's plugged in, and then we clamp these together using this clip. Okay, so that's that. And then this front power panel, okay, so first let's plug this in and let's see if this LED comes on, just to check. I have electrical panel here. The LED doesn't come on, but oh, there it comes on. Yeah. So that's the transformer at work. Okay, plug it off again. And I think first steps first. we'll just check all the connections before securing anything. And the other thing we got to check, I guess both of these will probably come into that panel, but we got to confirm that. Actually, looks like they both may not fit. Maybe looks like this is secured somewhere. This also may be secured. So let's take a look at that. These have to be secured on the front side, so we'll take those over there. And we will get the only two screws that I have. Keep those ready. And let's see the instructions again. So it looks like both of these are connected, and one of these is slid in this panel, or maybe both. Looks like both are slid into the panel. Okay, so first things first, let's connect the motor to the DC side. That's the motor. It's a 24-volt motor. And looks like that's the connections that we're gonna use. One of them is like goes to the front panel, and the other one goes to the motor. So let's connect the one to the motor. And it's also got a polarity with a notch, so it can only go in one way. That's the connection. Just have to push it in like this. And then for the front panel, we have to push in this Ethernet type of connector on the other side. This also can only go in one way. There's a spot for the notch, so you can only plug in one way, and you push it in until you hear a click. That's the actual panel. And basically we got to slide things inside. So we slide this in here, and we also slide in the other transformer in there. So I think we just have to slide it in this way, and gravity would hold them in place. sort of like this. I guess we could try to shorten this connector maybe by bending it later on, but we'll try that later. That's the panel itself. We can try the operation once we connect the AC power. So let's try that. This is just a test. There, we plug it in and we get the green light power, and also looks like the front panel is powered up. 72, I'm not sure what that is. That must be the height of something. So let's try using the controls. So let's try, this is probably at the lowest point, so let's try increasing it. There's a transmission rod moving. Seems really nice and silent, and we can see that it's rising up. That's nice. You can see that the actual motor is engaging. This is probably the maximum height, and it's showing 122. Not sure what the 122 means. It's probably centimeters, and that's what it looks like at its maximum height. And then let's try lowering it. The transmission rod seems to be working well. And it's back to 72. Okay, so this looks good. I guess I'll invert the table and then mount this panel. I think the panel is to be mounted on the front side, and I think that would be all. We use those two screws to mount the panel on these preset holes over here. You just screw the screws into these two holes, through these two holes onto those pilot holes that are being pre-drilled. I think they also supplied these other holes in case you were left-handed, but this is for right-handed people. So I think that's about it. I'll invert the table and then try it out again.